If you've got some revenues and now is the time to scale the growth of your SaaS business, then you need a go-to-market strategy. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through the 3 key principles that you absolutely need to know on how to revamp your go-to-market strategy, mobilize it so that you can accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS business faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this channel, if you're part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. For every single SaaS business that I've operated, ToutApp, Marketo, and for every single SaaS business that I own today, and for the 250 plus SaaS founders that I coach today, there's one key framework that I follow to build a go-to-market strategy and mobilize it. And in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 key pillars to that go-to-market strategy framework and exactly how you can mobilize it for your SaaS business. And when you watch till the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what you need to do to accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. So be sure to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's dig right into it. Principle number 1 for your go-to-market strategy is to flesh out your ICP. This is your ideal customer profile. Now, why do we think about an ideal customer profile? A lot of times founders are obsessed about their total addressable market. This is everyone in the world that should be using your product. Well, in reality, when you're crafting a go-to-market strategy and mobilizing it, you really want to be thinking about who are the ideal customers for getting you from this revenue level that you're at to this revenue level. If you're at 100K ARR and you're looking to get to $1 million, what is the ICP for that? If you're at $1 million trying to get to 3 million, 10 million trying to get to 50 million, there's different ICPs that get defined. When I work with founders, we go through a 29-point analysis on exactly what the ideal customer profile should be. And we try to get as specific as possible because the more specific you are, the more effective your go-to-market strategy is going to be. Principle number 1 is to really flesh out what is going to be your ideal customer profile. Once you have that in place, principle number 2 is your manifesto. Now, the manifesto is your very specific messaging. It's your positioning. It's how you differentiate in the market. It's how you position your SaaS business as a transformation. It's how you drive urgency in deals. And most importantly, it's how you differentiate yourself from the competition. And sometimes the competition is another SaaS product, and other times it's just doing nothing or an Excel spreadsheet or just ChatGPT. So positioning yourself in the right way and presenting exactly what your value proposition is, what your messaging is, what the strategic narrative is the manifesto. And this is a critical piece of your go-to-market strategy. Now, before I go into principle number 3, let me just pause here for a second. There's something very important here that a lot of founders miss and that I missed when I first started out. There's a huge difference between these first 2 pillars and this third one that I'm going to tell you. This is all strategy work. Strategy work is essentially how you're going to go about bringing your product to the market. The third principle is going to be execution work. This is exactly the sales and marketing motions that you're going to follow to bring your message to your ICP. A lot of times, founders skip the strategy work and jump to the execution. The execution is running the ads, running the content. And don't worry, in the third principle, I'm going to tell you exactly the way you should be running your sales and marketing activities. But jumping to the execution always ends up with founders wasting time and go-to-market teams wasting time. But if you do a bit of the strategy work and you flesh out your ideal customer profile, you get specific and you make some tough decisions on who you are for and who you are not, where you can compete and where you cannot, and you can actually codify that in your manifesto, in your messaging, then everything changes. And before I go to principle number 3, if you're starting to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Now in principle number 3, I'm going to show you exactly how to mobilize all of this, your entire go-to-market strategy. But let me just also mention, if you're at this stage where you're like, okay, I really need to build out my go-to-market strategy, and then I need to drive my execution, I want to scale revenues, and you don't want to go at it alone, if you're wondering, how do I flesh out my ICP? How do I actually do a manifesto? Then I encourage you to check out my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode. But right now, let's go to principle number 3, because I'm going to tell you how all of this comes together. Principle number 3 is where the execution starts. Once you have your go-to-market strategy, your ICP, and your manifesto, which takes some work, then you have your Broadway show. Now, let me first explain why we call it a Broadway show, and then I'm going to walk you through the 3 critical channels that I always recommend founders start with. Now, we call it a Broadway show because a lot of times, and I've seen this in my own companies, marketing teams, founders that are running go-to-market in the early stages get scatterbrained. This week it's Twitter, next week it's outbound, the following week it's ads, and then it's LinkedIn, and you're all over the place. And every week you're trying some sort of new weird thing, hoping it sticks. That never works. This is why we call it a Broadway show. What works is when you consistently run the same set of activities every single week, bringing your manifesto to your ICP on a consistent basis. When you do that on a consistent basis, you achieve channel mastery, meaning the channel that you're using to actually drive that message and reach your audience, you start to get better and better at. You actually get consistent. People see your brand and your message and your content 7 times, 8 times, 14 times, and they start taking action. There's delayed gratification work when it comes to go-to-market execution. So the more consistent you are and the longer you go, it compounds over time, which is why we're a big believer in running a Broadway show, which is a consistent set of sales and marketing activities that you do that brings the manifesto to the ICP. And that's where the execution really comes together. How do you do that? This is one of the things I really wanted to highlight in this video. In addition to the strategy, what are the key things that are in execution that's working really well? Well, what's been working really well with the companies that I run and the founders that I coach, and we have a ton of success stories in this channel as well, sharing more best practices, is we turn the manifesto into a lead magnet. A lead magnet is essentially something that's like a PDF that you can download in exchange for your email address. And using that lead magnet that becomes a PDF, we have this centralized narrative that we can center all our marketing activities around. So the 3 ways that we mobilize this manifesto and this lead magnet, the first way is we do inbound content. So you'll see if you follow me on LinkedIn, I consistently post content and I consistently promote our core manifesto where we teach founders on how to grow their SaaS business on a daily basis. And that generates leads. For other SaaS companies that I coach, they have their own manifestos that they then target on inbound social to actually generate quality leads. This becomes a critical component to your Broadway show because without spending any money on ads, you can actually generate a ton of really high fit, high quality leads. And you can use that to drive growth. And then you can take the profits from that growth and fuel it into more expensive channels where you can continue to scale the Broadway show. So inbound content using the manifesto as a lead magnet is one of the critical ways that we always recommend running a Broadway show. The second thing that we always recommend is doing outbound. If you know who your ICP is, you know who the 100 customers, your dream customers are. And so you can actually take this manifesto and you can email them with some compelling messaging and that attached PDF and say, hey, here's how we're thinking about this problem. Here's the transformation. Would you like to get on a call? And because you're arming them with education from this manifesto, this PDF, then they're much more likely to respond because they're like, oh, these guys aren't hard selling me. They're actually helping me and educating me. And the messaging we're delivering with them is highly differentiated, which is why they pay attention. The third thing that we do for the Broadway show is we, again, take the lead magnet and the manifesto and we actually give it to the customers, your best customers. And then we say, hey, can you refer us? This is also very powerful because we go to our best customers like, hey, you love our software. Here's a PDF that talks about the transformation we're doing for you. If you have 5 other people that are just like you that would get value, please share this PDF with them and we'll give you a reward for every single person that becomes a customer. And just these 3 things, the inbound content, the outbound, and customer referrals can be very powerful ways of mobilizing your Broadway show. And those are 3 key things that we're doing across all the companies that I coach, all the companies that I own, and all the companies that I've operated and exited in the past to actually drive growth. And it's super, super powerful. So let's recap. To actually scale your SaaS business, you first need to go to market strategy and then you need to run the execution. The 3 principles that you need to know is principle number 1, you need to flesh out your ideal customer profile. get very specific with it. When I work with founders on their ICP, we go through a 29-point analysis. The more specific you are, the more successful your go-to-market is going to be. The more diluted you are, the more scatterbrained your messaging, your approach, your execution is going to be, and it's just going to hold you back. Principle number 2, flesh out your manifesto. The manifesto is your value prop, your strategic message, your positioning, how you differentiate in the market, all encompassed in one core narrative. Build that out, turn it into a lead magnet and a PDF that you can then use in your Broadway show. Your Broadway show is a consistent set of sales and marketing activities that you can run on a weekly basis yourself and your team, and you can hire people out over this, that brings the manifesto to your ICP on a consistent basis. The 3 channels that we recommend is inbound content, where you use the manifesto as a lead magnet, outbound, where you attach the manifesto so you can educate your buyers, and customer referrals. Give it to your customers and have your customers share the manifesto so you get warm referrals and warm intros for more customers through your existing happy customers. Those are the 3 principles that you need to know to actually revamp your go-to-market strategy and drive growth for your SaaS business through a Broadway show. Now, what you may not know is, TK, how do I flesh out my ideal customer profile? I have a couple of sentences, but that's not really an ICP. How do I go through a proper analysis of exactly who my ideal customer is? You might be wondering, TK, how do I build out my manifesto? What goes into a manifesto? How do I differentiate from the competition? How do I drive urgency in these deals? How do I actually show them that this problem is indeed urgent and important? They need to do something about it so I can accelerate my deal cycles. You might also be wondering, how do I run a Broadway show? How do I post this on LinkedIn? How do I structure the content? How do I make sure this generates leads versus just a bunch of likes? How do I make sure that I'm doing outbound correctly or referrals correctly? This is why I run my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. Inside of this program, we actually help you flesh out your ideal customer profile. Then we teach you how to build your manifesto, and then we teach you how to run a Broadway show. It's an incredible program. At this point, I've worked with over 200 founders inside of this program. We've published so many amazing success stories, and I just love working inside of this program because it's just so effective in helping founders revamp their go-to-market strategy and kick off their Broadway show, scale growth, hire members in the go-to-market team, and get to that next stage of growth. So if you'd like to work together in revamping go-to-market strategy and driving growth for your SaaS business, just go to tkcater.com/GTM. tkcater.com/GTM. On that page, you get all the details about the go-to-market program. If it looks like it's a fit, just fill out a little form and get on a call. The better the fit, the better the results, which is why we get on a phone call to understand exactly where you are, what your goals are. And if it sounds like it is a fit and working together, then we're off to the races right away. It's an incredible program, and I sincerely hope that we get to work together. So just go to tkcater.com/GTM. Also, if you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. If you have a fellow founder, if you have a team member that will get value from this video, just share this video with them. If you're part of a Slack group, WhatsApp group, please, we want to help as many SaaS founders and leaders as possible. So please share this video. It would just mean the world to us. Also, I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, and you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside the SaaS Go-to-Market coaching program. Take care, everybody.